Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome back to Booksmart Bitches. And thank you for joining us during National Stress Awareness Month. I'm your host, Erica, and today get ready to tackle the topic of burnout by Amelia Nagoski and Emily Nagoski and reclaim your well-being. This is Raina, my pride and joy. Okay, bye. Okay. And this is Sortudo, my other pride and joy. He's my firstborn. Raina's my youngest. Anyways, as I was saying, I would like to introduce the authors. Emily Nagoski, PhD, is a sex educator and author known for her work in human sexuality, particularly focusing on women's sexual well-being. She is the author of the best-selling book, Come As You Are, which explores the science of female sexuality and has been praised for its accessible and empowering approach. Amelia Nagoski, DMA, is a conductor and music professor, specializing in choral, musical, and social justice. She is known for her work in music education and advocacy, promoting the transformative power of music in individuals' lives and communities. Together, Emily and Amelia co-authored the book Burnout, The Secret to Unlocking the Stress Cycle, which explores the impact of stress and burnout on women's lives and offers practical strategies for managing and overcoming burnout. Their collaborative work combines their expertise in psychology, music, and education to provide readers with a comprehensive understanding of burnout and how to address it. Why did I choose burnout? Why did I choose it? Well, let's face it. Navigating life can feel like a constant battle against burnout. And let's be honest, who has not experienced it? This book offers practical insights and strategies to help us understand and overcome burnout, making it a must-read anyone looking to reclaim their joy and vitality. For those who do not know what burnout is, consider yourself lucky, but I will go ahead and define it for you. Burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress or excessive workload. It can lead to feelings of detachment, cynicism, and ineffectiveness, impacting one's ability to function efficiently in their personal or professional life, or both. Burnout is often associated with work-related stress, but can also result from other areas of life, such as caregiving or personal relationships. Now let's dive into the core concepts. First and foremost, the Nagoski sisters advocate for the stress response cycle. They argue that everybody feels stress, but not all of us know how to move through it and overcome stress. A lot of us get stuck in that stressed emotion, that feeling, but then we don't know how to supersede it. So a lot of times we reach that plateau and then we just go back down and then we feel stressed again, and that stress compounds on itself. So we need to figure out ways through the book where we can overcome it and incorporate it into our daily lives. And they define the stress cycle accordingly. They explain that there's the importance of completing the stress cycle by suggesting physical exercise, creative expression, and social connection as ways to do so. Their perspective helps readers understand the psychological and physiological basis of burnout and how to address it. They also dive into this concept called the human giver syndrome, which describes the societal expectation that women need to be selfless caregivers, often at the expense of their own well-being. The authors argue that this societal mindset contributes to burnout, and the authors advocate for women to prioritize their own needs. Just super, super important. I don't know about you, but as a woman, I feel like I need to just take on everybody's problems and solve them myself. I need to always be available to help people. I need to always be available when they need something or they need to talk about something. I mean, I will make time in my schedule for other people and do it at my own expense. I'm sure a lot of women can also relate, and it's an unfortunate, sad truth. And they go in to describe how women often ignore the inner voice that tells them to give up or move on, because we are taught to equate letting go as failing, which translates to us as women that we didn't fight hard enough or that we don't have what it takes. The authors also elaborate on the bikini industrial complex, which refers to the cultural pressure on women to conform to certain beauty standards, which can also contribute to burnout. The authors highlight the need to challenge these unrealistic standards and to focus on self-acceptance, which is so important. I mean, just think about the mental load that a woman holds. Not only do we have real, tangible responsibilities, whether it be caregiving, whether it be doing chores, whether it be meeting deadlines at work, or just whatever have you. But we also feel the need to take on the invisible stressors in life, where we need to be always available, always mindful of everyone's feelings around us. And then we also need to have the mental load of looking pretty, looking good, doing it. Like, I gotta have a full face of makeup to make my man dinner. Like, what? No. Which that is a complete 1950s and 60s mindset. But some of us still carry that in the back of our heads. And the Nagoski sisters mention that we need to just let that go. The Nagoski sisters advocate that the core causes of burnout are emotional exhaustion, cynicism, and inefficacy. Emotional exhaustion is characterized by feelings of being emotionally drained and depleted. Often results from prolonged periods of stress, overwhelming workloads, or dealing with emotionally draining situations. Emotional exhaustion can lead to feelings of detachment, apathy, and a sense of being overwhelmed by minor. Cynicism, aka depersonalization, refers to a negative, cynical attitude towards one's work, colleagues, or the people they interact with. It consists of distancing oneself emotionally from others and viewing them as objects rather than individuals. Cynicism can erode relationships, leading to isolation and a sense of disconnection from others. Inefficacy, aka reduced personal accomplishment, is characterized by feelings of inadequacy or a lack of fulfillment in one's personal life. Individuals in this mental state may feel like they are not making a meaningful impact or achieving their goals, which leads to a sense of failure or doubt. This component of burnout can undermine self-esteem and motivation, making it difficult to find satisfaction in one's accomplishments or a sense of purpose. All three of these concepts go hand in hand. In fact, I'd argue that emotional exhaustion happens first, and then cynicism, and then inefficacy. At least that's how my burnout goes, in sequential order. First, I just become emotionally drained and depleted. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm just reached my breaking point. And then I just don't even want to make decisions anymore. I don't even want to think about deciding what to have for dinner or where to go to the movies or whatever mundane task it is. Once I've reached that burnout point, or at least the cusp of it, I don't want to have to do anything. I don't want to make any choices. I just want to lay, sleep, eat. That's it. And then cynicism, right? Goes right into the next point where we could have a negative, cynical attitude towards one's work, colleagues, or people. And it does involve distancing oneself. That is 100% true. I mean, that's, I think, the normal correlation of things. It's like, we don't want to make decisions. We're done. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So let me just retract. Let me go back into my cave. And then inefficacy, where it just feels like no matter what I do, I'm messing up. And so it just goes in a line. And then inefficacy, after that point, I'm just really done. I'm like, okay, we got to move to a different country. We got to pack up and leave because this is not working. And I don't know how to overcome this feeling. this feeling of hopelessness, despair, depression, burnout. And the ironic part about it is, you're emotionally drained, which is why you feel the burnout. But even the burnout is exhausting. Like, it takes a lot of effort to constantly be stuck in that rigmarole mindset of negativity. I mean, it just compounds on itself. And that's why it can be so detrimental to get stuck in that cycle. And then some other points that the Nagoski sisters touch on is the importance of self-compassion and self-care, the role of community and connection, setting boundaries and saying no, the impact of sleep, exercise, and nutrition, and the power of mindfulness and mind-body practices. So it's a pretty all-encompassing book. Now, there are some specific parts of this novel that I do want to address. Specifically, there's a quote that the Nagoski sisters mention, and it says, "We can tolerate any suffering if we know why." Oof. Powerful. Mic drop. They go on to write, "And not knowing why is, itself, a profound type of suffering." So basically what they're saying is, if you can identify the stressor, it makes dealing with the stress that much easier. The Nagoski sisters also advocate for finding and defining meaning in our lives. The ironic part is that the authors explain that meaning is not found, it's made. They define meaning as the nourishing experience of feeling like we're connected to something larger than ourselves. It helps us thrive when things are going well, and it helps us cope when things go wrong in our lives. The authors explain that we must engage with it actively, and that there is no right or wrong source of meaning. There's only what gives you the feeling that your life has a positive impact. And I think that's so important to mention, because when we're experiencing burnout, we are so far off the tracks that we become discombobulated. We lose sight of our goals, our accomplishments, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in our current mental state that it's hard to recognize what our purpose is. Or maybe we lose sight of what our purpose is and our meaning. So once we can redefine that and make positive actions and goals towards it, the happier that we'll be. And this is a huge one. The Nagoski sisters, and this is also a really important point as well. The Nagoski sisters advocate that we need to complete the stress response. In fact, they use this metaphor in the book pre-industrial times, pre-electricity times, pre-technology times, where we are Neanderthal people and we're in the wild and this tiger spots us and starts chasing us. And so we start running in the opposite direction. And as we're running, a lightning strikes and zaps the tiger to death. And we recognize what happened. We run over, and our body is still experiencing stress, even though our brain knows that the threat has been eviscerated. But our body still is experiencing that adrenaline, that cortisol rush, everything that happens when you experience stress. So in order to become at peace and reach homeostasis, we need to complete that cycle. And the authors mentioned that we don't live in the olden times where we're having to fight lions and tigers and bears. We live in a society where our stressors, our threats are modern. They are bills, they're rush hour, they're deadlines, they're due dates, they're child rearing. It's showing up for your partner, cooking dinner, figuring out what to eat for breakfast. Like, those are the types of stresses that we deal with in today's society. And therefore, the Nagoski sisters advocate that we need to have some way to decompress every single day. It needs to be a daily routine, because otherwise we'll reach burnout a lot quicker. Because we have so many things pulling us in every direction, we need to have a way to get our feet back on the ground. They also mentioned that we need to learn to set boundaries in order to avoid overcommitting to external obligations. Ironically, as nice as it may be to be the one whose shoulder is always vacant for people to cry on, becoming too empathetic and overly generous contributes to burnout. Overextending yourself and overcommitting is a leading cause in emotional burnout, especially for women. This was an interesting point as well that they made in the book. They explained that the more stressed we are about change, the less likely we are to do it. They basically explain how, in order for humans in this day and age to make a change, the circumstances and outcome need to be favorable. They explain that there's such thing as resource abundance, and the more resource abundance that we have in the environment, it will allow us to make the decision to quit or stay. Example, in a resource-rich environment, people actually quit and move on to the next opportunity sooner because the risk is lower. I.e., if you're in a negative relationship, things aren't going so well, it's a lot easier for you to leave said relationship when you know that there's a loving and positive one on the horizon. Or if you're in an uncomfortable position at work, you don't really like your job anymore, it's a lot easier for you to quit your job if you have something else lined up, like maybe 4 other offers, 4 other interviews or something like that. So they emphasize that the more stressed you are, the harder it is for you to make a decision and the harder it is for you to leave that situation. So it's better to get your mental state right before making a change, so that way you can be, have all your ducks in a row. Okay. Now, I do want to take a moment to reflect on what may be causing burnout for us in our lives. So join me in this guided meditation. Bring to mind a recent experience of stress or overwhelm. Are we feeling overwhelmed with work? Are we feeling like we overcommit to activities outside of our daily responsibilities? Are our personal lives becoming emotionally draining? Simply observe your thoughts and feelings that arise without judgment. Notice where you are feeling these sensations in your body. Take a moment to acknowledge the impact of this stress on your body. Now imagine yourself doing a task where you are dissolving this negative feeling. Are you journaling in your diary? Are you taking a scenic walk in the park? What activity brings you joy? Now, feel a warmth washing over you as you achieve the activity that brings you peace. As you continue to breathe deeply, repeat the following affirmations. I honor my body's need for rest and rejuvenation. I release the need to overextend myself and I prioritize my well-being. I am deserving of love, care, and compassion. I trust in my ability to navigate challenges, and I value balance in my life. When you're ready, return to the present moment, carrying this sense of peace and balance with you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was as much fun for me as it was for you to have that little meditation there. Now, some key points as we wrap up and recap. We need to recognize the signs of burnout. I think burnout is highly individualized. It looks different for you. It looks different for me. We all have different characteristics and tendencies and experiences. So my breaking point might be different than your breaking point. So it's important that we recognize what that looks like so that we can prevent it and then also combat it. We also need to prioritize self-care practices, which are exercise, mindfulness, hobbies, taking regular breaks. I don't know about y'all, but it is really difficult for me sometimes when I'm in the zone. Hours will go by and I won't eat lunch, or I'll forget to eat lunch. I won't drink water because I'm just so focused on my work because I have a desk job. So if that's you, set reminders, set alarms, take a break, walk away, decompress, center yourself again. Maybe play the meditation again. I don't know. It's important that we implement these positive self-care practices because in the long run, it'll set us up for success. We also should be mindful of building resilience. It's important that we cultivate a positive mindset. And I know that's easier said than done. We also need to practice gratitude. Also easier said than done. And seek emotional support from others and loved ones. Use your safety net. Use your foundation of people that love you and care about you. It's important. And everybody needs a shoulder to cry on. Now, don't let people cry on your shoulder too often, but definitely be there for people when they need it. And take brain checks. I do it all the time. Hey, I can't handle this right now. I'm at max capacity. Can we put a pin in that and circle back? Has saved my life a lot. So, some food for thought. As we wrap up our journey through burnout, let these insights and newfound knowledge become the foundation for positive change in your life. Remember, it's okay to say no and set firm boundaries in your life. We all must protect our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Booksmart Bitches. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. This is Erica, signing off. Join us next week where we discuss the upside of stress. Now, all three of these concepts go hand in hand. Almost like they... Please. What the f*** are you doing? I can't go in the trash can. Thank you for joining the Booksmart Bitches. Thank you. Okay. He's a Booksmart bitch.